What's in your shot and what's not in your shot is equally as important. What does that mean? It means that you need to be... Welcome back to the channel, guys. So today we are in Manhattan Beach, California, and what we're going to be shooting today is some headshots for Financial Advisor Group. We've done photos for them in the past. We did some headshots for them, some group shots. It's pretty convenient because, as you guys can see, there's a lot of shade because a lot of the buildings are covering this area. So I'm familiar with the spot already. The theme of today's video for you guys is going to be using the 35-100mm for a professional shoot. This is a question that we got previously, whether this lens is made for professional sessions. The thing is, to me, as long as you have the correct focal length and the correct, to some degree, aperture, does dictate whether it's going to be a professional kind of shoot, right? So today, we're going to be shooting in an area where I don't need a ton of zoom. Is the 35-150 quote unquote better? For this, probably not. I don't think I need 150 because you also have to think for headshots, I'm not trying to be 100 feet away from my client because I want to be able to speak with them. I don't want to have to yell at them in order to direct them. So I want to be probably 10 feet away from them at most. So the 100mm range is going to be perfect. It's also a lot lighter. It's not as heavy as a 35-150. So it is nicer in that regard. So this video, I guess, is more, if you're on the fence between the 35-150 and the 35-100, if you do mostly headshots, if you do mostly something where you don't need a ton of zoom, this is a nice option. It's a lot lighter. It's also half the price. We actually just posted a video on the 35-150 versus the 35-100 very recently. So you guys can go and check that video out so you can kind of see more of a deep dive on a comparison between the two lenses. But for today's purposes, for what we're doing, the 35-100 is going to be plenty, and it's going to be nice and light, which is nice. Yeah, and you guys are seeing some examples that we shot with it. Let me know what you guys think. If any of you guys have played with the 35-100, I know it's a pretty new lens from Tamron, but it's a great lens. I have liked it more than I was expecting. Because if you do things like this, corporate events, corporate headshots, actor headshots, this is a great lens because not only can you use it for work, you can also take it on vacation and it doesn't feel as cumbersome as a 35-150. So anyway, follow along, let us know what you guys think. So one of the things that we like to do, as you guys know, if you follow us, is that I like to keep things as simple as possible. So I was just speaking with them. So one thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna shoot with very simple backdrops. So we have this garage right here that gives us a certain texture. Then we have the white, that gives us another texture. One thing that we are using the 35-100 closer to the 100 range is in order to hide things. So we're going to be hiding, obviously, this construction here. We're going to be hiding the construction over there, the trash can, this really bright porta potty. We're going to be hiding a lot of things. So the goal is to use the compression of the 100mm range to hide as much as possible. I think that one of the things, the most important things that one of my professors taught me in college was what's in your shot and what's not in your shot is equally as important. What does that mean? It means that you need to be very intentional as far as what your background is. If I'm going to be shooting this way and I have this Tahoe in my background, I'm going to ask my photographer, why did you leave the Tahoe in the background? If you can explain to me why it was in the shot, great. It's the car that, you know, the owner of the company, his grandfather gave to him. Okay, fair enough. That's why the car's in the background. Otherwise, get rid of the car. Make sure you shoot here. Don't get the basketball hoop because this is not a basketball shoot. So you're going to shoot a little bit from above to get just a little bit of the texture back here. Again, why is something in the shot? Why is this in the shot? Because that's a really pretty simple texture background. Why are we avoiding the porta potty? Because nobody wants to see a porta potty in the background. So just be intentional. Another thing as far as being intentional, don't generally shoot this direction, even though we're in the shade, right? Alexa's going to follow me. The lighting on my face is going to look pretty much the same, very similar, except when I'm getting that reflection. But what I don't want to do is shoot towards this direction because now what am I getting? I'm getting a really bright background. And even though the DJI, the Osmo Pocket 3 does a really good job at mitigating the highlights and mitigating the shadows here, this is like seeing a JPEG. So this is seeing like an edited version of the photo already. Can we edit it and fix it so we get that bright background and also get, yes, but why are you gonna complicate your life when you don't have to? Instead of shooting towards this way where it's really bright this way, generally we're gonna shoot this way. We're gonna shoot this way. We're gonna shoot into areas where it's gonna be darker behind them so we're not fighting our elements. Why are we going to make our life difficult and shoot this way when there are so many good options this way. Not only that, look at the angle. There's a little bit of a slope here. I would rather shoot down towards people so that way it gives them a nicer jawline. You don't want to be shooting up at people because then they're kind of looking down at you and it creates the double chin effect. It's just not as flattering. Generally speaking, you want to be shooting down towards people. Not a crazy amount, but a decent amount. And that's why the 35-100 is definitely helpful, because we're going to be shooting more from the, I was going to say 50 and higher range, but realistically, we're going to be shooting more the like 85 and higher range. Because generally speaking, why is the 85mm a portrait lens? Because it's an 85mm, it's more of a zoom. So we're gonna be shooting closer to the 100 range than we are anywhere close to the 35. We probably won't shoot anything at 35mm. Another tip that I can give you guys is, let's say we got here and I wanted to get some test shots and I have my assistant with me. One thing I can also do is shoot with my cell phone. I usually do like 5x, which I think is like 120 or so. So if I do it at 5x, I can kind of map out what the shot is gonna look like. So Alexis, if you come over here, I'm gonna whip out my cell phone. Excuse me while I whip this out.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
And I'm gonna take a little test shot of Alexis right there. So you guys are gonna see this photo in the video. And it just kind of gives me a little bit of a preview that I can then show the client, hey, this is more or less what it can look like. So it's a very crude way of showing it, but you know, it's a little method to kind of give them a little preview as to what I'm seeing. Granted, they're gonna trust you. By the time they hired you, they already trust you that you're gonna do a decent job. But, you know, sometimes you just want to show them, this is what I'm seeing. Anyway, I think they're just about ready. And then we're going to finish this and watch the second half of the World Cup game. So let's see if we catch that on the way home. All right, let's do this. So one thing that I was telling Alexis, even right here, we have the white background, we have the brown background. I wouldn't use that over there because there's some cones, but we have some different backgrounds. The key thing of this is keeping your subject a little bit away from the background. A lot of the times you see people take photos, portraits of people, and they're standing right against the wall. Well, it's fine, but what's that gonna do is there's gonna be absolutely no depth between the subject and the background. By bringing the people forward and bringing them closer to the edge over here, I'm gonna create a little bit of depth between them and the background. There we go, nice, stay right there, good. And tilt this. 2, 3. Nice. And again, 1, 2, 3. Nice. Right. So right there, nice. I got that smile while it's natural. There we go. Nice. That's it, good. And then everyone else on this side scooted a little as well. There we go, nice. Ready, 1, 2, 3, nice. All right, real quick, I wanted to mention this for the video because it's something that surprised me quite a bit. Back in the day, if you were to shoot with a really cheap lens, you would always get chromatic aberration around this area. So any area where there would be a very light background and then you have your subject in front of it, on a cheap lens, on a cheap prime, usually the wider the aperture, so if you're at 1.8, you know, you would get some chromatic aberration around them. And I just wanted to mention to you guys that at 2.8, I didn't get a single bit of chromatic aberration in this shot. So just a quick thing to mention, and I don't think I did any lens corrections as far as I know. I didn't do any. So right here you see defringe. That would be if we were getting any chromatic aberration around them. And look at that on a, what is it, $700 lens? That's a zoom lens, no chromatic aberration at 2.8.